Hi, in this video we're going to look at using trigonometry again for non-right angled triangles. This time we're going to focus in on the cosine rule. This is a higher GCSE topic, although it does appear at A-level. If you're interested in the A-level, I'm not going to go into the same amount of depth. Here I'm only going to touch on it enough for a GCSE revision. If you're interested in A-level, then you need to check out other videos. Okay, what we're going to do again is we're going to look at labelling up a triangle. This is really important because you're given the formula in a particular form, but you need to be able to put the numbers in the right places to get the right answer coming out. We're going to use the cosine rule to calculate an unknown side of a triangle given some information, and use the cosine rule to calculate an unknown angle in a triangle, again given some information. What I would always say is, whenever we're presented with a non-right angled triangle, see if you can use the sine rule first. It's an easier one to remember, it's easier to use, there's less numbers floating around, less areas that you can make mistakes with. If all else fails, go with the cosine rule. Okay, let's have a look, see what it tells us then. Again, first of all, I'm going to label it up. As with the sine rule, we have big letters and little letters. Big letters stand for the angle, little letter is opposite, okay, for the side. So we've got big A here and little a on the opposite side over here. We've also got big B and little b, and we've got big C and little c down here, noticing that each time they're directly opposite each other. Okay, you are given the cosine rule in your exam, but only one form of it. The form that you're given is for finding a missing side, and it says a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Okay, so you're given this formula. The minus 2bc cos A is minus 2 lots of b times c times cos A. Remembering that cos A will just be a number. A rearranged form of this is something that was really useful, and this is something that I would recommend that you write down, that you learn. You can get away with doing it this way, but I'd always try and use the alternative version if we're finding a missing angle, and it's this: cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. So if you're trying to find an angle here, then I'd use this form. Otherwise, go with the form that you've been given. And say, if you can't remember the rearranged version, don't worry, put all the values in that you've got for your A, B and C, and the bit that you're left with will be cos A. You're going to have to do some rearranging, and actually the cos A formula at the top right hand side is just a rearranged version of the one that you're given. We'll look at doing an example. Again, this triangle here looks like it's a right angle triangle, but it's not. I'm going to give you some more information to show if it were right angle, we would be able to use our normal Cosine rules for right angled triangles, but in this case I'm going to tell you that this is actually 87 degrees here. I've got a side length of 17 centimeters, I've got another side length of 18 centimeters, and we want to find a missing side. Now, I've only got one angle. It's often referred to as the included angle because it's in between the two sides. So notice it's here in between two sides, the included angle. I'm going to go straight ahead and start to use my cosine rule. Now again, I'm given this, so you don't have to learn this version. So it says a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. That's all well and good, but I've got to label up my triangle. Now, it's really important this time that we label it up carefully. I need to have cos A. That means that I've only got one angle here, so this has to be A, which means that this side is little a, and actually the other two sides really doesn't make any difference, so I'll call it B and C. I can then start to substitute values into my formula, and it says that, well, a is x, so I'm going to say that x squared equals 18 squared plus 17 squared minus 2 times 18 times 17 multiplied by cos 87. I'm going to put all that information in my calculator. So x squared equals, and I type it all in, I get an answer of 580.970, so on, so on, so on. At this point, I'd be not pressing my on or my clear or my delete button. I'd simply be pressing my square root button. So I'm going to square root both of these sides to give me x is going to be the square root of this answer. Excuse me, which means that x gives me 24.10 centimeters to 2 decimal places. Okay, if you're not confident in using your answer button on your calculator, it does save time, it's worth practicing. If you're not sure, write down the whole of this answer here so that you can then type it into your calculator underneath the square root sign. Okay. This time we're going to use the alternative version of the cosine rule to find an unknown angle. And again, I'm going to give you some information. So let's say that this is the angle we're trying to work out here, theta. And we can say that this is 6 meters over here. I'm going to tell you that this side here is 5.8 meters. And this length here is 10.2 meters. We're going to try and work out the angle. Again, there's no way we can use the sine rule. I've not got enough information. I've got 3 sides and a missing angle, so I can use my cosine rule. So we're going to say that cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Cos theta, because that's the value that we're trying to find, the missing value we're trying to find. Again, I haven't labelled it up yet, so let's just have a little look. Cos A, that means that this has to be A, and this has to be little a, because it's opposite. The other two doesn't make any difference, so B and C. So cos theta equals 5.8 squared plus 6 squared minus 10.2 squared, all divided by 2 times 5.8 times 6. Type all this in on my calculator and I get that cos theta equals horrible looking decimal fraction 0 minus 0.4942 and so on and so on and so on. Again, if you're not confident using your answer button, you have to write all of that down. I am. So I'm going to not press anything else now other than cos to the minus 1, because this is what theta is going to give me, of this answer, and that's going to give me the angle of 119.62 degrees. Okay, now if you didn't get that, double check that your calculator is in degrees mode. If you're not sure how to do that, consult the little manual that you get, have a look online, ask your teacher, but 119.62 is what you're looking for. Okay, here's 2 questions for you to have a little go at. This one up here is 22 degrees. Okay, so have a little think about how you're going to do it. We've got a missing side here, and we've got a missing angle here. Pause the video, and I'll give you the answers in a second. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go, and the answers to the one on the left hand side, you should have used the formula that you're given in the formula booklet, which is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Type all your values in. If you make a mistake somewhere, you might have made the mistake and said that your answer is 28.616 and so on and so on. Don't forget you've got to square root it. So A will be the square root of 28.616, which gives 5.35 meters, again to 2 decimal places. On this second question, over on the right hand side, we're using the alternative form. So we're going to use the formula cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Type all my values in, you'll get that cos x equals something in the region of 0.92786 and so on and so on, which means that x, the angle, is 21.89 degrees, again to 2 decimal places. Again, if you didn't get that, double check that you put in your values in your calculator correctly, double check that you're in degrees mode and not in radians or something like that. Okay, at the end of the video, we're looking at doing some revision notes. This again, really important that you label up your triangles carefully here. If you've been given an angle or you've been trying to work out an angle, let's say we're trying to work out theta, when we're using the cosine rule, we're going to have to say that that's A, big A, which means that this one's going to be little a on the opposite side. Okay, so the opposites to each other. Otherwise, you're going to get the wrong answers. Label the other ones up, B and C, for big B and big angle over there, C. Make sure you're using the right version of the formula to make it easier for you. So the formula you're given starts a squared, otherwise you're going to have to use the one that starts with cos. So cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. And finally, as always, just double check that your calculator's in degrees, especially if you've got a brother or a sister that do an A-level. If they borrow your calculator, they may well change it from degrees to radians, which is going to make a mess of all your calculations. Okay, I hope you found this useful. Good luck in your exams. As ever, check out my other videos and my Twitter account, which is Mr_G_Walton. Thanks, good luck, bye.